How unresolved childhood experiences silently influence adult fears, relationships, and emotional reactions, and how healing the inner child changes both the present and future. Many adults struggle with intense emotional reactions and don't understand why. Why does being ignored feel unbearable? Why does emotional distance cause anxiety? Why do certain relationships feel addictive even when they hurt? The answer often lies not in the present situation but in the childhood emotional experiences that were never processed. This is called inner child wounding. Let's take a real life example. Consider a child grows up in an environment where emotions are not consistently acknowledged. The child learns early crying does not bring comfort. Expressing needs creates stress. Silence feels safer than honesty. And then, as an adult, this person may over adjust in relationships, fear abandonment intensely, panic when someone withdraws emotionally, struggle with unexplained anxiety. When someone avoids them, leaves them without closure, or becomes emotionally unavailable, the reaction feels overwhelming. Not because of the person, but because the situation reopens an old emotional memory. Let's decode what's exactly happening. The adult mind understands this situation is temporary, but the nervous system remembers this feels unsafe. I've been here before. The brain does not distinguish between past emotional pain and present triggers. So the body reacts as if the original childhood experience is happening again. This is why the pain feels disproportionate. It is accumulated, not sudden. From a psychological standpoint, this is explained by attachment theory, emotional neglect, and conditioned fear responses. When emotional needs are inconsistently met in childhood, the nervous system remains hyper alert. Love becomes associated with anxiety, abandonment triggers survival responses. These patterns are not personality flaws, they are learned coping mechanisms. Now, let's understand how emotional phobias are formed. Phobias are not always logical or physical. Some common emotional phobias would include fear of being left without explanation, fear of confrontation, fear of being emotionally vulnerable, fear of being too much for others. These fears once served a purpose. They helped the child adapt and survive emotionally. What once protected the child now limits the adult. Therapists focus on reparenting, not blaming. Healing the inner child involves creating emotional safety internally, validating emotions instead of suppressing them, teaching the nervous system that danger has passed. The goal is not to eliminate fear, but to teach the body that the present is safer than the past. Healing childhood trauma is rarely comfortable. Common challenges that you might face would include grieving unmet emotional needs, feeling anger towards the past, loneliness when the old patterns are broken, and resistance to unfamiliar peace. Many people return to unhealthy patterns simply because pain feels familiar. We can take some practical steps in order to reduce this. Name the trigger. Identifying the fear reduces its power. Distinguish between past and present. Saying, This is a memory, not a threat. Create predictable routines. Consistency calms a traumatized nervous system. Practice emotional boundaries. Stop chasing reassurance from unsafe sources. Accept fears without shame. Understanding dissolves fear faster than force. How healing would change the present. When the inner child wounds begin to heal, emotional reactions would become more manageable. Silence would no longer cause panic. Self worth would become stable. Relationships would feel calmer and healthier. Love stops feeling like survival. Let's understand how healing the inner child would change future. Long-term healing would lead to secure attachment style, reduced anxiety, stronger boundaries, emotional resilience, and conscious partner choices. The adult no longer seeks someone to fix what was missing. They provide it to themselves. Healing the inner child is not about revisiting the past endlessly. It is about ending its control over the present. When the inner child finally feels safe, fear loses its grip and life begins to feel lighter. If this resonated with you, this series will continue exploring real emotional wounds and real healing. Let's stay connected and grow together.